All right. And
We are live.
we are maybe Facebook. Do your thing in 3 and 2 and 1. They say, Facebook, are you doing your thing or are you going to make me be annoyed? We're probably going to make me be annoyed. What's up? We're live. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday, Junior. Welcome to another amazing night of sharing client success in the community. First things first, please don't laugh at me if I fall off of this. I keep having like a premonition that I'm going to fall off of my walking pad while I'm doing this for whatever reason. So if that happens, just like be nice to me and we're just going to brush it off because I'm only going 0.6 miles per hour. But if you are watching this live, will you please drop a like, drop a comment, say what's up, engage in the conversation. And if you're watching the replay, will you please do the same, but say like replay, so I know you guys watch this back. But anyways, I wanted to come on here with my girl, Carly. So Carly is somebody who's worked with me in the coaching capacity back when I was an OTF coach, right? So she actually came to my classes when she moved here from Arizona. And then we started doing one-on-one coaching together. And we have been working together since I believe September of 2020. Which is freaking crazy. Yeah. So we've been together a long time. And one of the reasons I really wanted to bring Carly on here, you guys, is because you might notice in my content, I talk some shit sometimes. I talk about this thing called Orange Theory and how it's not like the best workout for people for long-term goals with their health and fitness, nor is it the solution to losing weight. And why do I say that? I say it because there's so many other things that go into weight loss, you guys. There's so many other things that go into body composition. It's not me hating on Orange Theory specifically. Clearly, I was a fan for some time, but it's to get you to see that there is no one size fits all. So I wanted to show you what it's like to chat with somebody who actually still works out with Orange Theory. And guess what? That's her workout of choice, and she's fucking killed it since our time together. So anyways, Carly, welcome. Thanks for joining and letting me rattle on a little bit. I would love you just did a little intro, like tell us about yourself, what you do, where you came from, where you live. Let us know.
Yeah. So, excuse me, as you mentioned, like I'm originally from Arizona. So obviously just like lifestyle wise, in my opinion, it's very different in Arizona than here in Colorado. And so just like whole life year round, you can be active, be outside. It's just, and it's very, very different than it is here in Colorado. And I was never really into health and fitness until probably like early 20s. And then my intro, honestly, it was to lose weight. And I was like, I want to be a runner. I don't know why. I used to hate running. And then I was like, this is it. I picked a race. I wanted to train for it. And then that's how I like slowly kind of dipped my toes into the pond, if you will. Okay. And so I started running a lot, and then I actually worked more with like a personal trainer for a year or so, saw great results, but then felt like I was plateauing. And then that's when I joined Orange Theory for the first time, like way, many moons ago. And then I kind of just like stuck with it and then started getting more and more into working out and had like lost a ton of weight, was in like great shape. And then I moved to Colorado for work. And that was like right when COVID hit. So I moved here literally 2 weeks before everything shut down. And I think that's when just like my whole life turned upside down. And I had a very active lifestyle, very active social scene, was just like always moving and going and doing things. And then all of a sudden I moved to a new state. I had no friends. I couldn't work out. I couldn't do anything. And then that's when everything kind of took a nosedive in terms of health and fitness. And then that's kind of where my story started with you, if you will.
Yes, we love to see it. So I think that's so interesting because we both have that sort of like life-changing thing that happened. I mean, it happened to a lot of people, but like right around that COVID time, right? Mm-hmm. Like you moved from sunny Arizona, warm Arizona to cold and wintry Colorado. The world shut down. And right around that time, like literally the week the world shut down is when I signed on with my nutrition coach. And I was like, shit, I don't have a job. How am I going to pay this bitch? So super fun. And so you did start coming to my Orange Theory, sure, like when it opened back up, right?
Yeah,
like
I was like, thank God, get me out of the house. Give me something to do.
Exactly. I think for any of us, it was just like, we were so grateful to have any sort of a workout facility. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter where it was. We're getting in there. We're doing the damn thing. So, okay. So basically, I got to know you through there. Da, 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 da. You wanted to sort of level up. You understood that like you're kind of missing a piece of the puzzle or something. So why was it that you decided to join on to Carbs and Consistency with me?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's like a lot of different layers to it. So yes, by the time like, which I couldn't even tell you when we finally could go back to working out, zero concept. But like I started working out and like historically, like I just had an active lifestyle. And I think when I was working out all the time, I was able to maintain and it wasn't really an issue. And then cut to when I moved here, like I think it was just a combination of having a more sedentary lifestyle because I didn't know anybody. And then you throw in COVID and then people are in denial, but like eating habits sucked. I was drinking a lot because I'm like, what the fuck else am I going to do? Like, let's just sit here and have a seltzer at noon on a Wednesday. Like, what else?
I love it.
And it was just like, I didn't realize it, but I started to put on a lot of weight, and then working out, I never had an issue. And then I went back and I started working out all the time, and like things weren't transitioning the way that they used to. Like I wasn't as, I don't want to say as athletic, but like my just overall athleticism and performance had definitely taken a dip. And I was like, oh, this is kind of embarrassing. Like what's happening here? Also, like I could just notice my clothes were not fitting as well. Like I just didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm doing all the same things that I used to always do. Like, why isn't this working? Why am I not losing weight? If anything, I felt like I was still putting weight on. Like I just wasn't seeing the results that I historically saw. And at the same time, like that's when I think you, as you mentioned, you were going through your coach. And so like you would talk about it in class and all the things. And I think I started following on social media. But I think really what shifted is I could see your success. Like I saw you changing like your physical appearance. Like I could hear like the nuggets that you were saying. I was seeing the stuff on social media, and it was easier for me to buy into it because I was like, well, clearly she's getting results, so she must know what she's doing. And I was just at that point that I was like, admitted to myself, like, I'm not happy. I can't do it on my own. Like this fucking sucks. Like, I'm not trying to be like the heaviest version of myself. Like, hi, I was single in Colorado. I was trying to meet people. Like I wanted to put my best foot forward. And so I was like, let's just fucking do it. Let's dive in head first. And I mean, it couldn't get worse in my opinion. So even if I tried it and it didn't work out, like I had nothing to lose at that point. But thankfully it was the exact opposite and it worked out very well.
Oh, so cool. I love that. And I think that's what I pride myself on, honestly, with Carbs and Consistency, with both myself and with Liz, is that we have stories, right? Like people have seen this wasn't always easy for us. We've gone through our own physical transformations, and a lot of that was the mental transformation, honestly. Like if we didn't change what the hell was going on up here, none of the rest of this was going to happen. But thank you for pointing that out, because I think it was important to me to go through it myself. And that's why so oftentimes, like in this coaching space, I see other coaches get into coaching and they've never worked with people in person. I think that's ridiculous. I think you should have to work with people in person before you even try to work with somebody online. But also, it's hard for me to see so many coaches out there that have just always been fit and they've never gone through the struggles that most of us have gone through when it comes to just not feeling great in our bodies and like having excess body fat and stuff. Like I did not grow up an athlete by any means. I work with clients who did like that were athletic at one point or another, but I've gone through a story. And so I'm glad that you can relate to that. And it sounds like you've gone through your own stories, right? Like even now in your check-in forms, you constantly are so good about pointing out the athleticism that's happening, right? So no, you're not necessarily like in the gym doing our strategic like strength training workouts with progressive overload and stuff, but you're in tune with your body and understanding I'm more athletic. Like I'm jumping higher or I'm running faster or I'm lifting heavier weights, and you actually pay attention to that because you'll be like, on this specific lift, I did my heaviest. So pay attention to those things. And that's what I love about it, because you're never like just celebrating the physical transformation that is very visual for the rest of us when we look at you. It's, internally, like how much stronger you've gotten. So I think it's super, but
yeah, totally.
Love it. Love it. Okay, cool. So, what were some of the things, or what are some of the things that you feel like you've learned during our time together that you didn't really put together prior to going through this process? And it doesn't even have to be through just our coaching. Maybe it was just through watching me on social media and picking up on things there.
Oh my gosh, like so many things, truthfully. Like there's a lot of things that I guess like you hear and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, blah, blah, blah. But like really honestly, just getting into like the nitty gritty. And I think I learned a ton on the front end, and it was just cool to like nerd out. So through like my check-ins and through conversations with you, and then just like seeing your stuff on socials, it was like, I just wanted to be a sponge and learn as much as I could, because like I was super committed, and I know I like to learn new things. I like to understand how it works. And it was almost like gamifying it in a sense, is it's like, it's honestly like a numbers game at the end of the day. And it's like a little puzzle when you're trying to figure out what you need to hit, what you need to eat to get the result that you're looking for. But it's like, I think some of my biggest takeaways, which I share with anybody who asks, like, I don't try to push it on people, but if people are like, hey, what, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know the biggest like transition, I shouldn't say transition, but just like mindset shift was just like overall activity. So I used to be one of those people that very much was like, cool, I'm working out 5-6 days a week, like, woo, I'm crushing it, and wasn't really taking into account like, yeah, I'm working out for 60 minutes and then I'm sitting at my desk for the next 9 to 10 hours of the day. And then I come home and maybe I do a little bit. And then now I'm just sitting on the couch watching TV. And so now it's like, duh, that 60 minutes in the day where maybe I get like a couple miles in on the treadmill, like that's like a blip on the radar in the grand scheme of things. And then just, I think the overall just like nutritional education that I got. So like focusing on protein. Yes, we all know that protein is super important, but I don't think I was, until I started tracking, I wasn't as not knowledgeable. I had like a false sense of, oh, I'm so good at getting protein. I have all of this protein. And then I would start tracking. I was like, no, Carly, you're not getting shit for protein. That sushi roll that you're thinking is high protein, cool, that's all carbs. Like you're not getting any protein from that. And I'm like, oh, I'm so healthy. And then like just overall fiber, never paid attention to fiber before. Like I just didn't even think about it. I didn't realize what an impact that made. And then obviously I focused a lot of carbs and fats with you on the front end, but now all I focus on is just overall calorie intake, protein and fiber. And it's just made a huge change, like on everything. It changes how I feel. It changes the way that I just look at food, and I'm mindful how I put meals together. And like when I'm going out and looking at restaurants, like through, like, it didn't happen overnight. Like it was honestly very hard on the front end when I was having to track and trying to figure out my meals and get it. Like it didn't click. But now that I've been going through it so long with you, it's like, it's just muscle memory to a certain extent. You're almost on like autopilot. Like I can look at food and immediately realize, okay, like what's this portion, or like this is a high protein option or carbs or whatever, and just build meals more intelligently. So I think like the biggest takeaways again is overall movement, obviously water, hydration, but that's never really been an issue. Hi, Arizona, desert rat, always drinking water. And then fiber. And then, last one was sleep. Sleep was something that I am just used to being like a little robot on, I guess. And then now like hearing you talk about sleep, because I know that's such a big part of just your overall like health and fitness and focus. And just like you post a lot of content about sleep, and it's in our check-ins and it's in just the process. And I started being more in tune with my body and picking up on trends. And it's like, oh, I get it. I slept like ass tonight. So that makes sense that I'm bloated. It makes sense why I don't want to do this, or I crave this. And even this week, like something as stupid as daylight savings, I'm realizing how much has impacted my body this week, that if I didn't factor in the sleep component, I might be like, why is the scale up? Why am I craving this? Why blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, I got it. It's just like, I don't know, it's science at the end of the day. And I'm like, cool, it's 1 week and I'll be back to normal next week. But it's just the overall, like, I think like knowledge and learning how to be like in tune with my body has been huge. That's like, I know it's sustainable long-term. Like, even if all of a sudden I'm not working with you, the amount of knowledge that I've gained is invaluable in my opinion, that it's like, I can now have just like a healthy lifestyle and continue to hit my goals and do whatever I want to do just from what I've learned from working with you.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's awesome. And one of the things that led me to really want to talk about is the fact that, yes, you've worked with me for so long, and yes, there's going to be a day when we don't work together, but I'm still going to stalk you. But we've also had periods of time where like you haven't tracked, where you haven't done check-ins, right? Like, which is totally cool because we never felt like we had to like start over, right? It was just like, okay, I needed space because I was going through this and that and whatever, but I was able to still successfully maintain my results because I've implemented the basic habits. So if you can think of any of those specific time periods, right? We had like some wedding, we had some travel, probably going back to like the holiday season and stuff. Like, what do you think? I don't know. Do you feel like you were successful during those times, even when you weren't doing the thing with like actual coaching, but you were still following those protocols? Like,
Totally.
how'd that look?
I think I had built, so like, yeah, this past holiday season, I was like a naughty client. But like I went rogue for a little bit and was just like, I can't, like, I got too much shit going on. I have so much travel. Like, I can't, like, my head just wasn't in the game. And I'm like, it's not that it's not worth the time. It's like, I'm bullshitting. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, Crystal, I'm doing all the things. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not doing shit right now. And so like, I think I had built such a solid foundation that, again, it's like, it's that muscle memory that like, it's like the thing that you can control. So when life was so chaotic, it's like, let me go back to my baseline. And this is what I know how to at least maintain and what works. So no, I wasn't tracking. I wasn't being as diligent, but what I was doing is I was focused on hydration. I was hitting my basic steps. I was focused on like getting my protein, getting my fiber. And it's because I do eat a lot of the same things. So it's very easy to me. So I could still put together just normal meals on the day to day. But like, yeah, maybe I'm being a little bit more flexible. I'm going out, I'm having a little bit more alcohol, but like the scale didn't really fluctuate. Like, yes, maybe I put on maybe 3 to 5, but in the grand scheme of things, like, who cares? And I knew that, and I was okay with it. And I was like, yeah, I'm a little bit fluffier than I was probably a month ago. And like, yeah, maybe I'm like retaining a little bit more water and like I'm a little more bloated, but I was okay with that because at that time I was also focused on getting stronger. And to your point, like, I remember during that time when I was like very reluctant to increase calories going into that, because I had just came off a deficit. I was feeling so great. And I was like, oh God, like if I increase my calories, like what's going to happen? And then you like pushed me to do it. And I agreed. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I can eat more food. And then I was just focused on, let me lift heavier. Like, how much faster can I run? Like, just overall like power movements. And that was what was cool and continued to fuel me through that time, is I wasn't so focused on like, I was focused on what was going into my body, but like I knew it well enough at that point that I allowed myself to have the flexibility and focused on winning in other areas. It wasn't just about like dropping weight or what the scale said. I was like, cool, I PR'd in all of these things and I'm eating all the food that I want to eat. Like what's not to love about that?
Yes, exactly. No, that's perfect, right? Because this is something I'm trying to talk to people about more, is like there's seasons, right? Like your nutrition should go through seasons as well. Your workouts should go through seasons, right? So even like last year, for instance, Carly and I were both training for a half marathon that we did in Hawaii. Like she and I are both people who previously had done plenty of half marathons. This wasn't anything new for us. It wasn't anything where, oh, it's our first time, we're so scared. It was, all right, we're going to crank it out because we want to go to fucking Hawaii. Like, this is going to be dope. So I remember you being super reluctant to add more food and to like have more carbs and stuff. But it's like, girl, I need you training for this race and feeling strong. And everybody here, there was a group of 8 of us. There were 2 dudes, including my husband and another husband of one of our friends, 6 females. And I was like, I'll be damned if I'm going to be the last chick in this group. I was like, I refuse to be the last because I am like the fitness professional here. And wouldn't you know it, Carly's the only one that beat my ass out of the chicks. I was so pissed. I'm like, no, but so excited too because I'm like,
I had a great coach.
Yeah, I'm like, she's my client. This is fucking awesome, right? Like I felt like pride in the fact that it was like we got there together. So super cool. But
and beat you was like, well, like a minute, if that. We were like right there together.
Still beat me. But yeah, I just think it's so cool to recognize, again, there's seasons, right? You did the training for the race. We enjoy the holiday season. We understand that, like, again, our goal with coaching is to teach people how to be successful without the tracking, because life's gonna life. And we want you to be able to like maintain your results and know how to come back and dial it in. So that's exactly what we've done now in the new year, right? Got back into protocols, found some maintenance for a little bit, just got your bearings back. And it's like, okay, now we're going to explore new things. So even a new protocol that Carly and I are utilizing together that we hadn't previously is like calorie cycling, so that she can enjoy this new social life that she does have in Colorado now, right? Like, goodbye fucking pandemic. This chick has dinner plans every night. So we got to make sure that her nutrition protocols also support the life she wants to have, because what's the point of like going through a diet or something, you guys, if you're miserable and you don't have anybody to like have fun with or to show off your body around, right? So it's been just super cool to like watch the journey and all the phases of just the past year and a half. So yeah.
Well, and I think like a big thing that you and I have also talked about recently is also just maintaining those expectations, and to where it's like you get what you put into it, and to where it's like, yeah, when I want to go out to eat and I want to have a social life, but I'm also in a cut, when I'm like, well, I can't really be mad if I'm not seeing the results that I want to see, because I know I'm not putting in 110%. I'm not even putting in 90% sometimes. And so it's like having those realistic expectations with yourself. I'm like, okay, fine. I might be in this deficit a little bit longer, but that's okay. Like, I'm fine making like little progress, and then ramp it up when I want to, and like give myself the freedom. But it's not your fault that I'm not hitting my goals. It's not, oh, the process doesn't work. It's because I'm not doing the work. And like understanding that, it's like, okay, yeah, like I didn't hit my targets. I didn't hit my steps. I only worked out X amount, but like, okay, then like I understand that maybe the scale didn't drop this week, or maybe it went up a little bit, but that's fine. But you know what? When I want to make results, all I have to do is dial it in. And then like in the beginning of this deficit, you're right. I was like half in, half out. I was still kind of socializing, kind of doing it. And then finally I got my shit together, and then it was like, boom. And then finally, yeah, when you hit that 90 to 100% all the time, like the scale dropped like rapid fire, and I was seeing the results. And it's consistency, guys. That's all it is.
So weird. My favorite word. Well, I love that. And, you know, just talking about the fact that like you do know how to dial it in, right? So even you're just conscious and you're aware of what needs to happen. Yes, it needs to be more effort on you, but you're also like, well, what's something else that I could potentially add in here, right? Like you totally decided on your own. You're like, I think I'm going to step up my steps. Like her goal previously was like 7K to 10K or something. And then I was like, okay, well, like, let's dial it in 10K to 12K. And then, hey, I'm just going to hit 12K every day. And like, you do it most every day, but that was something that you were aware of, you had control over. It's like, well, I know I could either drop my calories more, because I've been, you know, tight on my protocol. So I could either drop my calories, or I could just add in some more steps. And that doesn't look like going and doing an extra Orange Theory class every day. It just looks like, hey, I get to go walk Stella, or I get to walk on my walking pad, or just be more mindful of getting up at work. So I think, again, that's what the whole goal of this process is, you guys, is for you to be able to come to those decisions on your own when you're not working with a coach, right? She could have easily not been working with me and just known, all right, I've been looking at my step count average. I think I could level it up. I could do 20 more minutes of walking every day. No big deal. So, yeah.
And I'd rather walk more than eat less.
Exactly. That is my jam too. I'm like, no, I don't really want to cut food yet. So let's add in a little bit more movement, unfortunately. But that's why the walking pads are the best investments ever, right?
Watch my Netflix and just crush it in the living room.
There you go. There you go. I love it. Okay, cool. So gonna be respectful of your time. I know you got things to do. So I just want to leave with one last question. Like, if you knew of somebody who was considering it, because I'm sure you've had people talk to you about this, like, what are the types of things you tell them? What do you think would get somebody to say, like, you're right, Carly, I should do this? Like, why should they work with us?
Oh gosh, if I were to put that like concisely.
Right, because I feel like you've done that the last 25 minutes, but okay.
I mean, if you're like, I guess, on the fence, like, one, don't waste anybody's time. So if you're going to commit, then you need to be ready to commit, and you need to put in the work, because nobody can do it for you. But also it's like, if you're finally at a place that like, it's just not working, and you know that you need help, but you don't know what to do, you don't know how to do it, like, reach out and get that help. and then trust the process. And so if you find yourself like unhappy and you are stuck and you just want to feel better, you want to make a change, like reach out and give it a shot. Like you're not stuck in this forever. And like if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. But also if it doesn't work for you, it's because you're not doing the work. So
Exactly.
yes, like to me, it's worth it. Like I think when I reflected, like it was like a year, and as you talk about it, everybody talks about it. It's like a year, or even like 6 months in the grand scheme of things. It's not that long, and if you just commit to it one day and give yourself a chance, like you'll be so glad you did. In 6 months from now to a year from now, that it's like if you're on the fence, like just take a leap of faith, just jump off and dive in and get some help.
Yeah, what you got to lose? I love that. It's like, hey, you can either like commit to a year of trying to change your life, or you
Mhm.
can just spend the next year being just as miserable as you were for the past year. Like, what
Yeah.
sounds like a better payoff? I don't know.
Yep. The best investment you can make is in yourself.
There
So
you go. Exactly. And side note, if you're ever lucky enough to get on one of our group calls where Carly is there, she always has the fire like advice and tips. And she clearly is really good at her job and her leadership position at work, because she'll come into our chats with these things. And I'm like, bitch, do you want to be a coach? Because like the things you're dropping right now, like I could put you on staff and you could change the mindset of all these people.
tough
So
love, baby. It's tough
if
love.
you join us, hopefully Carly will be on a call with you. But anyways, this is great. I super appreciate it. Obviously, love catching up with you. Last week it was for a birthday party. This week it's for, just lighting me up and making it the best day ever. But I hope I get to see you soon, my friend.
Yes, it was so fun. Thank
Yay!
you.
All
Don't
right,
fall with your
appreciate you.
walking pad.
All right, friends, have a great rest of your night. And if you have questions, drop them. If you want to reach out to Carly, maybe you have more questions for her, I might hook you up with her information, but you can't stalk her. Only I can do that. All right, bye, guys. Down there and stop.